mind.
Hello and welcome to the second part of the Oscar special for On Screen. I'm your host Dylan Wright, and I'm here to take you on a journey through film and television. So last week, Bethany Wade and I talked about the Best Picture nominations for the Academy Awards, and this week we're getting into the Best Actors and Actresses for this prestigious award ceremony. So there's a lot of really good nominations this year. We really like all of them. Some of them we think maybe should not have gotten nominated for the award that they were, but there are, of course, some snubs and some surprises. So without further ado, past Dylan, why don't you take us away to a magical place that we call the past. Here we go. Going into the lead actor category, we have Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name. Daniel Day-Lewis, oh wow, I'm surprised that Daniel Day-Lewis has been on a Best Actor list, for Phantom Thread. Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire. It's probably going to be Daniel Day-Lewis. Am I right by saying that?
Oh, 100%. Phantom Thread was such a wonderful movie. It showed a side of the fashion industry that we haven't really seen portrayed in film before, and it's Daniel Day-Lewis's last film.
Yeah, I was going to say he's retiring, and I feel like that's going to really have some clout with the Academy.
Oh, 100%. I think if I had to pick someone, let's imagine he wasn't in the category, because since he's in the category, we can all assume that he's probably going to get it. If I had to pick one of the other four, I would honestly throw towards Denzel Washington.
Oh, really?
Because that's a film I did actually see. I don't think.
I think you're the only person
exactly.
that has seen that.
I don't think any other part of that movie deserved an award. But
the title especially is atrocious.
I didn't hate it because of Denzel's performance. That is what saved me from being this movie is trash, because he did such a masterful job with that character.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to argue for Gary Oldman because he's playing a historical character, and those always tend to get the wins. Just
again, back to the Oscar bait.
Yeah, it's a very Oscar baity movie from what I've heard. But I do think Daniel Kaluuya might be the underdog in this one, and I honestly think he deserves the win because that performance is riveting in Get Out. Absolutely riveting.
Yeah, it definitely really takes. It takes a certain soul to really be able to put themselves in the shoes that Kaluuya goes in with this film. And he really commits to it in a way that, you wouldn't see other people doing it. Because you have to play in a role like that that's honestly kind of an exaggeration of what happens in today's society. He really commits to just, playing it as if he was going through it himself. And that's something that a lot of actors, I feel like, especially when they play such a deep role, wouldn't actually do it as well. So I think you have a good point with him being kind of the underdog in that category. I think honestly, personally, I would want him to win. Like we said, Day-Lewis is probably going to get it, but definitely he is somebody who I'm grateful that he was able to get nominated, and hopefully we'll see more of him and he'll eventually get his own little golden statue.
Absolutely. And speaking of people that definitely do not get their due praise, lead actress category, we have Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I still hate that title. Margot Robbie for I, Tonya. Saoirse,
no. I was almost about to say Sasha, and that's also not correct.
Well, Lady Bird.
Lady Bird.
And Meryl Streep for The Post. Frances McDormand's been getting a lot of buzz for this. She won the Golden Globe, I believe.
She's swept everything. She won the Screen Actors Guild. Most critics circles were giving it to her.
Yeah.
So she's obviously the favorite, and it would be no surprise to me if she won.
Yeah. This is a packed category, though. I don't think anybody here has slouched in their performance. I mean, Sally Hawkins has to portray this character without speaking at all during the movie. I mean, there's one scene where she's singing, and but still, I mean, and Meryl Streep, it's Meryl. She broke her own record for the most nominations in the lead actress category.
I know, and I'm sorry to say this, but if I had to throw anyone out of this category, it would be her.
It's kind of just like, oh yeah, Meryl, you're gonna
Meryl
get
did an
nominated.
Oscar baity movie. You get a nomination because it's Meryl Streep.
Yeah,
She gives a wonderful performance every
it
time.
is good.
And I'm not gonna say her performance wasn't great. It's just it's annoying to see her recognized every single time. Like Florence Foster Jenkins when she was nominated. No offense, that was not one of her shining moments. Yet she still got the nomination.
Yeah, and I mean Margot Robbie. As someone who was on the fence about Margot Robbie, like performance-wise, after seeing her as Harley Quinn, I felt that she really lost herself in the character of Tonya Harding. Like I was like, oh wow, this is this fleshed-out character. This is this real person on the screen, and not the Joker's person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she really like proved herself like outside of that, which a lot of people, of course, like Suicide Squad was such a write-off. Everyone kind of may have stopped taking her seriously, but we forget about her in like Focus. We forgot about her in Wolf of Wall Street. She really did great roles in that.
Yeah.
She is somebody who really has great comedic timing, especially in a more dramatic sense of a comedic film. She's somebody who really knows how to pull the emotional heartstrings when need be.
Absolutely. And
that was such a good performance that like I honestly like could go on for hours just about that.
Very true.
Like if I had to pick one movie out of this entire out of all the movies that were nominated for at least something, Tonya hands honestly, it's hard to say it because I loved Lady Bird as well, but Tonya might be my favorite movie out of all the the main movies nominated.
Absolutely. I personally loved I, Tonya when I saw it. I thought it was a really interesting take on such a well-known piece of history, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And especially something that right after it, the O.J. Simpson stuff happened. So it was immediately just taken over by this bigger, grander thing that's had so many different media portrayed about it. And you kind of forgot about Tonya Harding for a while. And sometimes there will be a joke about it,
Every Winter Olympics, you heard some late-night comedian make the joke.
Yeah.
But I think what's really great, the most powerful thing about this performance is what it's done for Tonya Harding herself.
Absolutely.
Because she's not only back in the spotlight, but she's really starting to get her redemption for this. Because as the movie shows, this was supposed to help her, but she was not the one who really was involved in it.
Yeah.
People did it on her behalf. She wasn't necessarily the one who said, hey, go smash Nancy Kerrigan's leg in. We did kind of miss this earlier with the lead actor category, but considering how much we saw James Franco getting nominated for The Disaster Artist and seeing him get cut, that's a good thing in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Because you even see the news about how they're not going to let Casey Affleck present Best Leading Actress this year because of all of his
the
own
lead
scandals.
Actor presents lead actress and vice versa for the last year's lead actor.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that this is a really good step for Hollywood, leaving out Franco and Affleck in this case, because it shows that they're listening and that they're realizing this is something that we should address and this is something that we should not condone, and not, even though we're still giving Johnny Depp all the praise that he's getting, but that's neither here nor there.
That's a whole separate issue, but I think one thing I also want to note too is we've really seen how the Academy grown. Before we get into the supporting actor category, we've seen how the Academy has grown.
Yeah.
Because Oscars So White was just such a few years ago now, and yet we're seeing so many more people being nominated across a grand variety of spectrums. We're seeing the ageism movement kind of start to reduce. We're seeing more people of color, more women in production categories being nominated.
The first cinematography nomination for a woman. Yeah,
Rachel Morrison, who is just such a stunning cinematographer, and she finally is being recognized by the Academy and somehow broke this streak. And then on top of that, an 8-year streak was broken when Greta Gerwig was nominated for Lady Bird, which we'll get into directors later, but it's astounding to see that there are more minorities in director than people in the majority, which Absolutely. I think is something very important to see in Hollywood, to see how Hollywood is starting to grow with that.
Yeah, it definitely shows that they are trying to change. And that's the most important thing, is that they're giving some proof. They're giving some things that they're being like, listen, we hear this, we think it's a bad thing too, so we're not going to condone it. We're not going to allow this to keep happening. And I honestly think that in order for people to start healing and to start changing the industry for the better, that these types of things need to be happening. And I'm absolutely glad that that's going around like that. So that's going to be it for this week's edition of the Oscar special of On Screen. If you have any future topics for any future episode, let me know. I would love to cover anything that you'd like me to cover. Next week, we're going to go over the supporting actor and actress categories, so you won't want to miss that. But until next time, take care.